Call the order. Please stand. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ricky Taylor.
Here.
Derwin Smothers. Here. Ron Engel is absent.
He called.
He called in. Tom Pence.
Here.
Carrie Vernon. Here. Joanne Welch. She is also not present.
She called in also.
Sydney Reagan.
Resigned.
Sydney Reagan resigned.
Okay.
And Charlie Dean.
I'll announce it when we get going.
Here,
Thank you.
All right.
we have another one. Mr. Cummings.
Gary Cummings. Thank you.
Absent, but we have not heard from this yet.
Okay. Nothing from Cummings?
Not yet. No.
All right. Presentations, as you see, Joanne's not here. I believe she had a family emergency or get together for a funeral or something that she was involved in. And then Sydney Reagan resigned. Her work is called upon her to be there. So she asked.
Is that right there, the girl?
Yes.
No, this is Drew Ann. Sydney was the one.
That's what I said right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's one who died.
Yes, she asked that we would accept the resignation. So do we need to have a motion to accept the resignation, or is that just elimination?
He just eliminates her.
I don't think,
She's not reading. You can't.
no matter what we do, we can't make her come back.
No, but now she's not a voter in our nine, so now we're down to eight.
I do this for safety precautions, it's better to do it.
Better to be safe than sorry, so
We can make a motion, we accept her resignation.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposes? No. All right,
Thank you.
motion accepted. All right, moving on. Last week we discussed all of section 4 of the charter and reviewed it quite a bit. And we have made some notes to discuss some sections in 4.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a cost of what it would possibly be
Cost
to get a district divided up. I think I'm not saying the right word, what I'm talking about.
This,
But that's, yeah.
we have Jerome's.
Zones. And then
You're
you're
gonna
gonna
make a motion for me to
write some language.
stuff about the mayor's
Yeah.
position, which I have here.
Okay, I have a handout that Mr. Smothers provided us.
He said that, you ain't supposed to get into this.
Just that will go under section, again,
4.2.
402, just two. What's there would stay what it is, I would just need to do paragraph. And if we read 302 is actually the charter that gives the city permission to do business with all different people. So there's kind of a lot of ifs and buts in it. Three oh two is basically
Yeah, let's go back.
anybody that a big city does business with.
Right. Drew, were you able to determine what the cost was for, if we were deciding to go to district, because that's what we,
No, I didn't think so.
okay,
I'll have to make some more time to get that work.
okay. No, it's fine, I just had my notes, that was one of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, without that information, we can't do a whole lot about discussing
No.
the districts in there.
So are we going to table discussions about the districts?
Oh, because we, that, we,
We don't
we
have
gotta
the
have options.
information, so,
I understand on this.
Yeah, no, you're right.
yeah.
little bit, I'm a bit on districts, it would be impossible to get any for 2008.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't do it anytime, but
Not for
No,
this-
it would-
Not for this election.
This election, it wouldn't happen, but it would be something that we could put into place to come through. I think I brought that up last meeting. We couldn't. Most everything we do on this is not gonna happen this year. It'll be after the election and after it's approved
In the election.
in the election that it would happen. I did have a question in my mind, because I didn't. We got, last week when we got to, section 4.6, paragraph B,
Right.
did we take consecutive out?
Yes.
I thought we did, I circled it, but I didn't mark it out.
Yeah, we said we were gonna take out consecutive indeed, but
I thought so.
per election term.
I wrote down we're gonna add per term,
Right.
take out consecutive.
Yeah, I circled it, but I didn't line through it, so I still wasn't positive.
Chair, for the record, Gary Cummings has entered the.
Oh,
You made it.
Hello, everybody.
what you did, good work. I just have to cut my afternoon nap short.
Okay, so on section 4, what else do we need to discuss before we can move on to section 4? Because I know that discussing the districts was a big part of it.
I think that would be on the other thing.
We need a straw vote on that.
Yeah.
When you get out of four,
No, okay, yeah. This is 4.02.
Yeah.
for them, the attorney will have a field day with it.
Let him play his stuff.
Bring it in.
So this right here, what you wrote up would be replacing
Yeah,
all
this is what the mayor wrote up.
No, that'd be addition to 402.
addition to, okay.
Yeah, what's their mistake?
Yeah.
This is just clarifying that these out-of-town meetings and out-of-town negotiations, the mayor is the one that should.
Is the one that will represent the city.
What you have to realize on the other part of letting other commissioners do it, the sunshine law is real easy to violate. When two people go somewhere and talk about something, and they come back and vote on it,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a violation of the sunshine law.
Yeah.
You have to really make sure only one person is doing it.
So only one person is quote representing the city, but is he trying to eliminate the other commissioners from being able to
No.
attend the meeting?
Read the second paragraph. This is to represent the city at remote locations. The commission cannot go to remote locations and represent the city. That's a sunshine law violation.
Unless the commission tells them they can go.
No, if the whole commission goes out of the city limits of Oak Hill, they're depriving the public of a right.
Look, I'm not meaning, I'm saying if the commission, if the mayor can't make it, they can select one of the other
That's
commissioners.
what the paragraph, they can hire a lobbyist.
The second paragraph.
Right, that's what I'm
They
saying.
wanna do it.
But I think that's what she was
And
asking.
on any one thing, they can tell the mayor not to do it.
Right.
You can't go on
So no city functions or state functions or anything that goes on, a commissioner cannot go?
that. The
No, function.
I
commission,
understand function, but any
Commission
type
cannot.
of,
if they all go together, it's almost impossible not to violate the sunshine law. If it's not a public meeting within the city of Oak Hill, you can't, they can't just go off to a meeting in Jacksonville, for instance, at the Well, it's
What
like,
about like those city leagues or those?
League of Cities, that's not it's not a city function.
No, not a city.
Okay.
city commission.
This is for, county and state business, not city function business, like when they have
That
something
affects the city.
that affects the city. This right here is for, say he has to go to Tallahassee, or he has to go to D-Land. That's what this is for.
But the second paragraph says
That if he can't make it, someone can appoint, the commission can appoint
they can hire lobbyists, they can
Right.
appoint somebody or
to go in his place. That's what that second paragraph says, because they say hiring outside consultants and negotiators.
the city, the commission always has last word.
Right.
in everything. We're a commission government.
And you might not have an intent to talk about city business when two of you are together. But if there, and there are plenty of times, and I've sat with other commissioners when I was on the committee. Because you can have friends, but you don't have to talk about city business. Have lunch, stuff like that, but you don't talk about city business. That's one thing you don't, because there's always gonna be somebody sitting behind you that hurts you.
That's a simple
And
violation.
also, with the other
That's
half,
easy.
anything that this commission might be voting on later.
Right.
We don't dare go to the same meeting to discuss it.
Okay, so we want to make a motion to add this as a,
That's a straw vote at this point.
Yeah, we have to draw the, yeah, we'll bring it all back in later, straw vote approved it.
So it'll be rewritten by the
Sure.
attorney.
okay, so everyone approves.
Everything I'm
to
gonna
put this in?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Ms. Carey, you sound a little apprehensive.
I would like to, I have a little apprehension, but I just, I'll double check on.
We wanna make sure you.
What is your,
No,
what's your
I,
concern?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
well,
saying.
I was just, the sunshine law, I just wanted to go back and reread the sunshine law again on that, just, that's all.
Oh, okay.
There's
Yeah.
online classes on the.
Because I've been reading the sunshine law because of our workshop lately, so.
So
Yeah.
if they say like me and you go to lunch and we talking about and we talking.
Oh, I
about
know,
business.
that's a complete.
No, I'm talking about me and you talking about business.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
That's called,
violation.
yeah, but that's called a conduit.
Right, correct.
And a
I
conduit.
understand that totally.
Yeah, that's a direct violation.
No, I totally understand that.
The hospital commission, it was on
I know. you must
before my
contract
time,
over it.
everybody, including the lawyer, says you're not violating the sunshine law. The judge said you were,
Yeah. It's just like in here.
so you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, on this committee, we get out here and we start talking about this and what we wanna do and how we wanna do it.
And that's a
You
total
broke the sunshine.
violation. Absolutely it is.
So this right here would be under the next two paragraphs then.
Under.
It would be under,
So where it
Yeah.
says, as specific duties for the mayor to perform, it would be, should the commission have the second paragraph and the third one?
and that would be where he wants it at.
Very well, the attorney could say this is not necessary, everything there is ordinary and normal way of doing business.
Yeah.
They could easily
Yeah.
say that.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you so much.
Okay, moving on. On the straight with four, is there still some?
No, I think we do it. I just wanted to make sure that Ms. Carey would do it, that's all.
No,
I just want to make sure she would do it.
Okay.
yeah. Really, all of Ken's questions, that he had that we were supposed to go over, we can't really discuss because it relates to the charter issues and we don't have, the information on that.
Which one's that?
Well, Ken had given us,
He gave us a copy of the hybrid district.
Yeah.
the hybrid district and all
Oh, yeah,
that, but
yeah,
that's
if
all
that's what-
relating to districting.
Yes.
So it's,
And we
Not
wait on
anything that
information
we
on
can
that.
really address at this point.
Bill, when you talk about putting, you know, I know you guys were discussing about putting the cities in different districts. That's gonna cost a lot of money.
Well, that's, we tabled that because we're waiting for Drum to get back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What the estimated cost would be. to put it in.
Yeah, you can imagine how much it's gonna be, because you gotta get demographics.
Oh, yeah, it's,
And we understood that, and that's why we had asked Jerome to
the,
get that information.
the big thing, in my opinion, and one reason I was sort of for that, is as it is right now, you could have 3, 4, or 5 commissioners from Lighthouse Cove, from Indian Harbor, your biggest voting block in the city of Oak Hill is Lighthouse Cove and Indian Harbor. You take them two and they can put whoever they want to in here. I don't care what the west side does or what the east side does. Them two voting blocks can put whoever they want up here on this commission. So we don't want to have everybody from Indian Harbor. We don't want to have everybody from Lighthouse Cove. You know, I would rather see some of the demographics.
I understand the diversity that you want,
You know, exactly. You know,
and I can go along with that.
and that's one reason I came to you one time and said, when are you gonna run for commission? You remember me asking you that?
I know.
Okay, because how long has it been since we've had somebody from the west side on the commission?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. We need to have input. I ride through there a couple of times a week, and I'm not a commissioner. But we need to have somebody that's got eyes on the ground over there that says, this is what we need on the west side,
I understand,
you know?
but we would have to, in order for that districting demographic entity, we would need to at least have 3,000 people, 3,000 to 4,000 people population. You gotta
But you
have
got-
that.
but
You gotta eliminate so many
Yeah,
good
you gotta
candidates.
yeah.
Yes.
And, I mean, the population is gonna grow soon, I mean, real soon. So my thing is, with that study, I'm not saying that I don't like it, I'm good with it. I'm good with anything that's gonna make the city better. But we just have to look at the cost now, because,
Exactly.
Which is why we,
you know, we gotta look at the cost. And then we gotta look at how long it's gonna take, because it's not gonna go on the ballot right away.
No,
We gotta maybe focus on what's now.
I would say we're getting close to 100 grand.
and it could possibly be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could
Yeah.
be.
my other point about it, I understand your point. I like the idea in a way, but at the same token, look how hard it is to find people to run for office. And, you know, like you said, it's been a long time since you've had anybody from the west side come in to represent or run, you know.
I just
And it
think,
would be nice to have it.
yeah, but I just think, I've been living in Oak Hill all my life, off and on. When I lived in Tylersville, I was down here every other day because of my grandmother. I mean, I was here. I would come down State Road 3 before I went home. And, you know, just to see her, you know, I've always had an address here. My take on the conversations I have from the citizens on the west side, their answer is, and I don't mean for this to sound facetious, but their answer is, that's me.
You got loud enough.
And I'm getting back. Their answer to me is, and I look at them like, you don't know what. They're not gonna do nothing for us. What are we going up there for? Well, you don't know what they're gonna do because you're not up there.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
In order to get anything, you have to be seen. You have to let people know what's going on and what you need. So eventually, I plan on running for something, because my thinking is not like their thinking. My thinking is that if I want something over there on the west side and I don't, you know, I'm gonna squeak the wheel a little bit. They say the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You know, I'm gonna be the squeaky wheel.
That's it.
You know, and I plan on running, but you know, that'll come up later. But I'm a little different than they are because I believe in.
We have to have representation.
Yeah, we need representation, and I believe this right here. Everything should be fair and across the board.
Yeah.
In politics, you got to straddle the fence. And I've heard me say this before. You got to straddle the fence. If this person not gonna like it, that person not gonna like it. But you got to do what's right and do it for the common good of everybody.
And the next time, that one's gonna like it,
And
and the other one's not. It's like this, the whole way.
that's why you got to straddle the fence in politics.
Yeah.
But if you do it right, you don't have to do it again.
Yeah.
Meaning that you don't lie, you tell the truth, you don't have to tell it again.
Telling the truth, number one priority.
Well, look at it in two ways. We've tabled this, we just have to wait till Jerome comes back and gives us the cost.
Yes, sir.
But I still think we need to sit there and begin planting a seed at some point in time. It may not be because you got 4,000,
Yeah.
3,000, may not, what we do now may not be enough. But at some point in time, you need to have it done demographically to make sure all parts of
The whole
Oak Hill
city
are.
is represented.
Because I'm right with Charlie, you heard my plea last time.
Yeah.
With three people in one particular area, it just shuts everything down, they control it, which is not the right way of doing it.
That's right.
What would it take to actually get a referendum on a ballot to let the citizens in town say, yeah, that's something I really think is a great idea, or we want no part of it? What would the cost be to actually put a referendum to ask the citizens what they
That's
want?
what we're gonna do with the charter.
Yeah.
The charter
But
is.
the charter is,
City-
ends up kind of being the law of the land,
Yeah,
per se.
citizens.
But I'm just suggesting, what would it cost to turn around and put it out to the public to ask what their feelings are about it?
Districting.
Yeah, about the districting idea. At this point, I don't think we've got the population in town, but I agree that in the future, it's gonna be a major issue, and it certainly is something that should be in there.
I think
Yeah, but the charter can be, we can come back.
2 years.
We
3
can
years
come
down the road,
Yeah, we can come in 2 to 5 years, and if we see it's needed, then we can say, hey, let's do this.
Well,
At
We need
any
to come
point.
back, but we need to come back early enough to where we can get it out there.
If I read everything right, from the state, it's just like the charter. We can suggest all these changes we want, but the city commission don't want it, they can vote it down.
That's right.
I
Okay.
think that's.
But if it's something that somebody on this commission feels like is important, you can go out and get a petition. And I think it is 10%, might be 20,
Of the population.
of the electoral population in Oak Hill. And then it has to go on the ballot. Okay? So if there's something in this that the commissioners turn down, and we feel like it's strong enough,
Need it.
we think we need it, we can go out, start a petition, get a petition, and they have to put it on the ballot. It might not go on this year's ballot,
But it go on there.
but the next election ballot, it'll go on.
Where did you see that in the charter?
It's not in the charter, it's in the
Okay,
state,
I was
I don't
gonna say.
remember.
That's the.
That's state law.
But a referendum is not binding. You
No.
gotta have another legal avenue to do that,
Right.
other than a referendum.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry.
Good?
Yeah.
All right.
We kinda got off point. It's good. It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Y'all agree to move forward with section 5 then?
Yeah, we're ready. Ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, section 5, moving along, elections. General election shall be held even numbered years.
good.
Yeah, I think
I
five.
don't have any problem at all with five.
5-1.
Three of black and white.
That's black and white.
It's like,
And 5-2 is too.
Yeah, commencement of terms is good.
Yeah.
503 is terms of office, and that.
That was pretty good.
I got something I wanted to bring up on.
Yeah.
Why can't, this is just a suggestion, the mayor go to a 6-year term instead of a 4-year term?
and that way he can be.
Because then you wouldn't have your staggering.
Well,
Yeah, he can stagger.
Your staggering is in your commissions.
Should have continuity though, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's-
if the
that's-
mayor went 6 instead of 4, because there are a lot of places that do that. That have the mayor on an odd cycle for most, because this, I mean, if we did that,
But he's still going down the cycle with 2 commissions.
Yeah.
right, but this year it'd be these 2, next time it'd be them 2.
And he'll still be in the seat.
You follow what I'm saying? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. But that's just a thought I had, you know, it went through this way. Something to think about.
I've gotten a lot of pushback
On the seats.
trying to make the mayor more powerful in the city. And, you know, a strong mayor type of government is what I would be for, that choice, which is kind of what you're talking about. But, there's a lot of pushback on that. You know, the mayor used to be elected by the city commission.
Right.
Which he had no power.
Had no problem.
If he crossed the city commission, they kicked him out.
Yeah, that, you know, it's just something I had, and, you know, I like the strong mayor also for him. But, and that's just a thought. You know, we can keep moving, that's something that, just a seed I planted, so y'all can think about it.
I wouldn't have any problem unless it was a 2-year term though, 2-term term.
What's that?
I wouldn't have any problem with a 6-year term as long as it was maxed out at 2 terms. So you're gonna-
2 terms for the mayor.
Limits.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't want somebody getting tied in there for 18, that's 3 terms,
No.
18, 24.
and I agree. I'll agree with that. As a matter of fact,
This is-
I think all the commission ought to be a 2-year term, or 2-term limit
I agree.
on the commission.
But the only good, I had a business in the city who had a mayor for 50 years. You cannot imagine the clout he had and the amount of money he got for the city. All the people he knew over the years.
You must be talking about a pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a strong man.
He got so much money for that city, you couldn't believe it.
That city
And
be that big.
He,
Now that city is, wow, everything.
he got the interstates, he got the 409 to come through his city.
Yeah, you got,
He fought Disney
429.
on the 429 and won.
He's got 429, he's got 429, he's got the 434 that runs back into 429.
418 now.
He got, and man, that man, yeah, he went out.
Yeah, because we had a mayor here for 19, 20 years, Clarence Goodrich.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he did.
I like the idea of personally term limits, you know, myself. That's just my personal opinion.
What
I,
about,
do that too.
do we have enough candidates?
well, then I guess we're gonna have to start finding more candidates. You know, we've got to find
If we
people
start
to
kicking them
serve.
out, nobody else will run.
Yeah.
We gotta get
It's
younger
hard.
people involved in this community.
Yeah, but it's hard. See,
I know it's hard.
Let me take, let me explain this to you. Okay. Most young kids in this community, until we really get something for them to do, when they get out of high school and they go to
Get
college,
out of town as
they
fast
don't
as
come
possible.
back. Okay,
Right.
I was just one of them that came back because I promised my grandmother I would never leave her and I would never put her in a nursing home. So I went to college and I came back. Okay, but I'm just one of them, just.
Well, let's just take, here's another one.
What do people think about 8 term limits, 2 terms? You forget about you can't get candidates to run anyway, that's just a moot point. Because I agree, I feel strongly about 2 terms, because you see some of these politicians, you know, They've been here for 50, 60, 70 years. They're just way too long. They're just too political and stuff. You need to have new blood for y'all to come in.
Yeah, but here's my thing about term limits. Okay, let's say you got people on the commission that's really got this city moving forward. Okay, their term is up to not even be a commissioner anymore.
Yeah.
What's to say the people that's gonna come in on their seats is gonna keep the city moving
And not know any
this
history.
way and not know what to do or how to keep it that way?
That's right.
So my thing is this: if a person is in a seat and they are doing their job, believe what I tell you, once they stop doing their job, the citizens gonna vote them out.
That doesn't always work though. That's the problem.
But I'm telling you, if
I think it's gonna be a moot question because there's bills in Tallahassee now to address
They're trying to.
county commission or city commission on limits. And they're gonna say yes or no, and then we gotta go on what they say.
oh, okay.
Then we'll have to follow whatever they come up with. at that
That
point.
didn't pass, but that didn't pass, so I don't think, did it?
No, it's on.
Still, it's still in
Still.
litigation.
I don't think past this year, I haven't heard.
I thought they closed the loop, and I read the newspaper yesterday, on that. They may come up again next session,
We could, Berkeley will be,
yeah.
If we were to get the
Government
IT guy,
sign on orders, yeah, so I don't know what.
anytime there's a reference on our charter to make it a hyperlink, it would just.
There's pros and cons about both of them. I
Both
suppose
of
we
them,
do, but,
To its reference.
And you know,
Because right now, you have to just copy and paste it and go look for it, and find it.
The ordinances.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
kind
get
of
the right person
notations that
there,
they give you in the
they
charter.
can do
It's,
four,
just like you did
8,
for me
12,
the other day.
16.
Yes,
that
the
up.
ordinance, yes.
The long person, and they just sit there just because they got
When
the
we
name
create the
recognition.
document, we can add
Because
it.
we
That's
had,
the problem.
that's almost city, county commissioner that wrote off last year, that'd been on there for 50 damn years and didn't do anything.
They do nothing, just sits.
Yeah.
Internal.
No, that's exactly right, but everybody liked it because they didn't cross anybody, so they got reelected every time.
Or nobody ran opposed to them and they just,
Then that's the downside, but the other side is, if you got 5 people that have the right mind frame,
And they moving the city
moving
forward,
then you got it.
then you know, because you can get a couple people in there that just say,
You can run out of talent.
you can run out of talent.
So are y'all suggesting for us to create some changes for what you're talking about, or make some suggestions?
No,
for
I
us
don't
to
know,
eventually vote on?
it's just.
We just throwing out, we're just throwing our
I'm just
mind.
spitballing right now,
Just
but
spitball, yeah.
I just want to know if there's anything that y'all are strong with.
I think we need to leave it like it is first for now until we see what the state's gonna do.
I'll agree with that.
And not even with the charter, but if we can recommend that the city create a commission to look into the possibility of districts in the future.
Sure.
Right.
And then come back and let us know what.
Well, if you read what Ken was saying in his,
Yes.
that was a great deal of what he was explaining was that would be the necessary route in which to go, which is going to take time, obviously, and like you said, it has to, also fall in line with an election so that it can be put on, whether it's 2 years or 4 years from now. It's a time-consuming process, along with expensive.
And you can even, in a district, you can even have the mayor as in that large, and you can have one commissioner.
When you say at large, are you implying that only those 2 seats the whole city votes on? I disagree with that. I think no matter what commission seat, mayor, the whole city needs to vote for.
When the time comes.
There's no districts, that's.
Well,
that's like it is now.
Exactly, and that's the way it should stay. 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, when we have districts, then that's a different story. Then it has to be addressed under districts.
But again, like I said, right now, Lighthouse Code
That's
or Indian
true.
Harbor can control what the city of Oak Hill
So
does.
are you trying to say that they can't vote?
The people in the park, they
First time, please.
It's really a
It's
moot
about
point.
time that we got control and having to put up with the old part of Oak Hill running everything. That's the comments I did.
Hey, and I'm not saying any different.
The old part of Oak Hill had complete control for many, many years. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. A lot of the old families ruled who won the election.
That's why
Well,
we
but
need, that's why we need new blood and.
and that's where I'm saying, if they had districting back in, you wouldn't have had that.
Well,
I
it's a moot point to
Now.
get information from Jerome.
Right,
I like
now.
it. But once we get the information, then we can
Then
make
we
a,
can move it.
we can move it forward. If we don't decide not to, we can make a recommendation.
At some point in time, we will have districts.
Yeah.
I'll be dead and gone.
No, you won't.
Now, do we need to change?
Still prop you up.
Yeah, no, you will be
No,
right here.
because basically what that's turning around and doing is if
No, I understand that, but
forward-
the dates need to change.
Yes, they'll change
That-
They'll change automatically.
But it won't,
That's
It won't affect anything else, but I'm just saying.
No, you just.
but the date won't change in all that showing is a
Start
at the time.
Is a start
for each district.
for each group.
Each person. That's right, so start.
You got 2 commission seats that go for 4 and the other 2.
I understand all that, I'm just saying, but does it need to be, when we do the charter, it needs to be 220, instead of 212 to 216, does it need to be 224 to, doesn't matter?
That's
Because this is just basically going back to when it was changed way back when.
If we change terms, then it could all.
Yeah.
All right, section 5.04, multiple candidates. Did we read through that yet?
That one,
That one's.
That's
I had no problem with
Pretty
that.
cut and dry on me.
Where should be?
The only one thing the last paragraph, whenever a candidate in a primary election shall receive a majority of the vote, the majority of the entirety of the vote cast for a particular seat, then the candidate shall be declared elected to office.
Yeah,
That's pretty much state standard. All of these.
that, if you have 3 people,
If you got 3 people and let's say those 3 are running, all for the same seat.
Yeah.
Okay, and Gary gets the majority of the votes, then he's in and the other 2 are
If it's
out.
over 51 votes.
if he gets over 50%,
Over 50%, that's what.
over 50%, he ought,
Majority is kind of not the right word, it's over 50.
it's gotta be over 50%.
They have to be 51%.
So for anything over 50%, because
50.1.
he's already won.
Okay.
You giving me my 51 already?
Are you running?
All right, so we cleared up 504.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moving on to 601.
No, we didn't,
We haven't done any research in
Oh,
the 6s.
I know.
Well, I've read, but I ain't really put a whole lot of notes.
no, I haven't
You
either.
need that.
I read it.
I think it's gonna take a long time because
6 is a big.
This is gonna be a good one that we can pick on Jerome.
Uh-oh.
Look at him shaking it.
We can pick on Jerome and we can pick on the commission.
the problem we have to remember when we do 6.01 is what we would like to have. It's not what we have now. I think all of us feel that what we've got now is not what we should have. And a lot of it's because the people aren't exerting their authority like it should be. And I'm saying that we should have more oversight over Jerome and over the office here, but it's not happening. I think I'm saying it correctly.
Yeah.
But we have to understand, if we had a stronger people out there, we may not have to have as much oversight.
That's, we're trying to correct your management problem
Yeah,
with paperwork, and you can't always do that.
no.
The first thing to answer is, do we want to go to a city manager type building?
Yeah.
I say yes, I wouldn't make that motion, but instead of city administrator. You still have a city administrator. If we have the city manager, changes everything.
You know, I would agree with that. The only problem I have in that is that we have to have more oversight of the city manager. To make sure he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And then they come back and present the budget every month, going over capital expenditures, going on what's going on. But you go back to the septic system, which is, in my mind, that was not handled correctly as it may have been handled, I won't say. We weren't given all the information from the city manager in order to come to a good conclusion. We were all sort of led down a path. Not a good path.
Well, the city manager cannot make policy.
No, but that's what was.
But the city manager, because the commission didn't do their job, was blamed.
The city administrator.
City administrator was blamed for everything. Did you know she was our construction superintendent?
Yeah, they made her the project manager.
Yeah, she was the project manager. And let's face it, we all know, and rightly so.
That's not entirely true.
Well, that's what the mayor
I
said.
followed the sewer thing from start to finish.
So have
The
I.
commission did everything but book. They hired an outside consultant to oversee that.
No, not according to what the mayor turned around and said at one of the last
Most certainly
meetings.
did. I've talked to him more than once.
Yeah, supposedly we all thought Mead and Hunt was the overseer of the project.
But who was the overseer, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, we'd like to hear.
The guy that sat out there in the pickup truck all the time.
But he was a Mead and Hunt employee.
Yep.
There was another
Yes, he
guy
was.
besides me.
There was another guy beside that Mead and Hunt guy who was out there doing a little work, and there was another guy,
My
with the
commission,
Mead and Hunt guy.
He was in the-
Never saw another person besides
guy.
me.
Anybody else out there?
All right. We're not gonna debate the.
Okay.
What happened?
But we give that, if we would have known some of that information, it may have made our decision a little bit differently.
I don't know what decision would have been
Well,
on the sewer system.
I tell you, well, I don't want to get into it. I mean, I sat there and brought three things that were tragic things that should have never happened, should have been prevented, had a strong project manager. And when I came down and talked to her in here, she gave me Mead and Hunt guy that was done it. She never talked to anybody else, so I went to Mead and Hunt guy. Then I called him up, and that's why I got so mad, because he says it was at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
When
I jumped on commissioners about it, and they showed me who they hired and what they paid him to oversee.
I'd love to know their name. If you could research it and get it back, I'd really appreciate
Mark
knowing.
Bill, he lives out in.
Yeah, oh, I know where Bill is. He lives across the street from me.
All about that. But I tried to blame him for the problem.
Well, I have a problem with that because
He hasn't
what I
done
ran
anything.
into, there was when they cut my telephone line, they dug a hole, 4 foot by 4 foot, regular square rectangle. And right next to Bill, there was kids over there, little toddlers. They could have possibly fallen in. I got elderly people walk up and down that street all the time. They could have fallen in. And when I went to Mead and Hunt, I asked the guy, why hasn't that hole been done? His comment was, well, I called AT&T 3 times and they've not done it. I came down and bitched at somebody, and all of a sudden the next day, Mead and Hunt throws dirt in there. And I'm sitting there thinking, Mead and Hunt could have thrown dirt in there to begin with. It was a safety hazard that if OSHA would have sat there and shut the whole project down. That's why I say we didn't know. I'm just telling you.
That's not a commission law. That's a contract.
Let's quit talking about the septic system right now. We're a charter review, not a septic system review. On section 601, I know we haven't had time to sit here or to review. We thought we were going over other things along with section 5, but we're here and it's only 3:44. So we still have time. If we need a few minutes to read 601 and take it in, we can discuss each one a little bit slower.
Well, I need to go back and read the thing that we got from her, which I have not read yet. talk about the city manager responsible for that one thing she gave us.
The difference between a manager and a administrator.
Yes.
What I was gonna say was, I would make a suggestion. Since no one has read over section 6, I mean, all of us have read the charter, but we haven't studied 6. And I'm looking at 7 and 8.
Okay.
And
Skip
9,
6?
if we cut this meeting short,
Well, we won't be here next week.
okay, but I'm saying if we cut this short and we come back in 2 weeks, we should be able to finish
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, and 9.
6 is gonna be the long part.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, 6,
7, we can even
So,
look at it
yeah,
now.
maybe right now.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we
Yeah.
can knock it out. In 2 weeks, we can knock it out in a couple hours.
yeah, I mean, the one I think is gonna take us the most time, and that's just my thinking,
You see?
from reading the 6.
Six.
6
Yeah.
is very detailed in what the city administrator is supposed to be doing, what he's supposed to be giving the city commission, what he's supposed to be doing for the city. And, you know, I'm not saying that he's not giving them everything they want, but is it all that we need him to be given? You know, that's the thing.
That's why I was saying, maybe we can study it for 2 weeks. And then we'll have all our ducks in a row.
Yeah,
And there's,
how about if we today skip chapter or article 6 and move on to 7 and kind of take a look at 7 instead of going through
I agree
6?
with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, because I've already read through all of it.
Yeah, I have.
But- And 7 and 8, that's one foot in front of the other.
Basically, cut
That's
it
one
out.
foot in front of the other, is all it is.
Yeah.
You know, the authority of the city commission,
And 9,
that's state law.
yeah, and 9
What's
is,
that?
9 is us. And I
Yeah.
think we should change, well, I'm skipping out. I was gonna say like 9 instead of at least every 10, or it says at least every 10. I think it should be at least every 5 years on this charter. Because when
Oh,
things
charter
change,
review?
yeah, on charter review,
Yeah.
as things change, right? We need
Yeah.
to at least be able.
Gets it out of step with the election cycle.
Oh, okay.
Well, let me go back to 7 too, though.
You're right.
One thing,
Especially even on
under the city attorney, the commission may remove the city attorney for any reason by motion required by 3 affirmative votes. Why would we want to have any reason in there?
because the state of Florida is a working will state. And that the attorneys just absolutely say, if you give a reason, you've got to prove that reason in a court of law, usually. And so it's best to just say, because the state will allow you, it's best to just say, no reason required.
But what kind of reason do you get, just because they don't like the way he parks his hair?
Well, see,
Correct.
Florida, Florida is a right to work state.
Yeah.
They can let you go if you come in with the wrong cologne on.
That's exactly right.
And I don't care too much for that, because I think if a person is doing their job, just because you don't like the way their hair done, you're gonna send them packing.
Well, I think I think that's an area in which the city commission by a majority vote should be able to turn around and say, we don't like Scott Simpson, we're talking attorney, we don't like Scott Simpson, and the majority of the commission says, I agree, we need to look for a different
So you
attorney.
get 5 new commissioners in. They should have the right to get a new city administrator if they want to, without having to.
They should have that right
Maybe I'm
to.
reading it wrong. I'm saying that the commission may remove the city attorney for any reason. I'm saying for any reason.
Anyway.
Why do I have to give a reason?
You don't.
You don't have to
That's
give a
not,
reason.
that's not the intent.
I understand that, but I understand because
I know what you're
Tom
saying.
Coast went through that same problem with the school board up there where they had to sit there and buy her out because they had to give cause and they couldn't do it. So they negotiated for almost a year up there.
But any reason could be because we elected new commissioners.
You
That can be the reason.
can also put it as an at-will employee.
I just don't think any reason could be eliminated.
You know, an at-will employee is somebody that's working at the will of the city and can be let go at any time. It's the same way as the city administrator, if an at-will employee, he can leave at any time he wants to. You
And
know,
I think that's good verbiage and should be there for everybody, to be honest.
you know,
Excuse me, what are we at? We on 7-1 now?
701.
Oh,
Yeah, I think seven,
Well,
we did, I think
we
we
didn't
all
really-
said seven's not a problem.
Yeah.
I only brought up that for any reason, because we need to get a clarification from Scott, our attorney, for what any reason is, because he's the guy that's gonna be proving this. And I don't all of a sudden say for any reason, find out, well, we've gotta give something that's really,
So should we just say that can be removed by majority vote of the commission, period?
yeah.
Then we can take that.
that sounds good. Somebody wrote that down?
Board, okay.
Terry did.
Take the word any reason out and just say
Yeah.
by majority.
Say that
The
again.
commission may remove the city attorney by motion requiring three affirmative.
I think it's in there somewhere that the quorum, if you only have 3 people, it has to be 100% vote.
Correct.
Still
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
standard.
And that's a cool.
have a quorum.
right, still have to be.
Absolutely.
And that's the same thing on the 4/5. The other one, to hire somebody, city administrator, 4/5 vote,
So we're gonna take out for any reason, those 3, which is straw vote.
majority vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Under 701, under the city commission, I think we should expand. What's written here, I think is fine, but I do think we need to put an expansion in there, either there or somewhere in 6. That the commission needs to, as you have put it before, verify that things are being taken care of and done. The city commission needs to oversee things and be able to verify that. I'll give you an example, okay?
I know it, before the attorney's gonna say, you don't need that in the charter, that's already implied, that's state law that the commission is supposed to do that.
Well, then there needs to be a reference to the state law. If there's a state law that says that, I'm fine with it, as long as there's a reference to FS statute, 1, 2, 3,
All
4.
kind of state law, but concerns stuff on the charter.
Well, if there's a state law, I'd just like to see the state law addressed, noted in there.
But
Okay.
What the attorney was saying, you're trying to tell the commission how to do their job. They are elected by the people
To do a
to
job,
do
but at
their
the same,
job the way they see fit, not the way you and I see fit.
okay,
That's what they'll tell you.
but the thing is, they need to be following up on and verifying that things have
Ain't
been
gonna
done.
take no for that.
And I'll give you an example, okay? Lighthouse Cove, that property that we got, okay? In the minutes, which year it was, when that property first, I wanna say 22, but I'm probably off on the date, but anyway. Con brought that property out to the city commission and said, here's how we got this property, this is where we're at with it. At that point in time, the city commissioners all voted to keep that property and instructed Con to make the HOA payments to Lighthouse Cove on there.
But that's not what this is dealing with, though. This
Well,
is
that's
dealing
why I'm
with-
saying,
No,
whether it's under here or if it's in section 6.
Well, no, that, I view what you're sitting there saying, that is a
We
city
have,
manager's problem and the mayor's problem of not putting that back on the agenda as other businesses keep on rolling and forward. It just got lost. I read this right here is that the city commissioner can appoint various advisory boards.
right, and I
Like
don't
the
have a
PL,
problem with
DRC, whatever it is. And
Exactly.
And the PO, and they all have specific, don't all the boards, the advisory boards have specific
Yes.
job description?
Yes.
Well,
Now, I'm not saying change that.
No,
I'm saying expand it.
Well, it's
Be
gonna
it in here or somewhere in 6.
I understand that, but
what do you want to expand it to?
to expand this, it's already state law and state statutes on how they handle their business, but remember I said last week that when somebody gets elected, they need to know what their particular job is, and they need to, be held accountable, okay?
And this is my
And
point, accountability.
But if they should know, in running, you have to keep your nose to the ground and make sure stuff get done, because everything that this city do, it comes before this commission.
It
Now,
does.
if it's not coming before the commission, then somebody got their hand in the contract, and that's a problem.
I'm just saying, shouldn't there be something in there? I agree, every person on that board
Yeah, but it's
has a
in the-
responsibility, but shouldn't there be something in here
You
to
mean
hold their
in the
feet to
charter?
the fire,
Well, it's
to
in the state.
make them do their job?
Yeah, but it's already in the state. It's already in state
Stuff
statute.
stuff in the charter that has no penalty to it.
Yeah.
All you're doing is saying, every commissioner's gonna do a different quality of work.
Yeah.
I understand
If
that.
they don't do what the charter says, what are you gonna do about it?
Okay, my point is, our commissioners currently sit there and say, we can't do that. We can't follow that. We can't shadow, an employee and, okay, by law, they should be able to shadow, and it does say that they can shadow an employee. I'm a commissioner, Gary's my employee. I can follow him around and say, okay.
Commissioners cannot do that, no.
They should be able to shadow,
Not involved.
not turn around and say, okay, hey, Mark, you did something wrong on Public Works, you need to change it and do it this way. Not give them that authority. But to turn around and say, they could follow Mark around, sit with him, go out with him for a day on a job and just see what the work entails, see
But that's
where there are needs, where there aren't.
That's under Jerome.
But Jerome can't get in the truck and ride around with Mark.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Okay, if I'm a commissioner, okay, and I know this is on the agenda or whatever, okay? I said, well, no. They're supposed to do this, and that. Me, I would go out and look at the work after they gone. Then I could make my notes. I would come to Jerome and say, Jerome, I was this, and this, and I didn't see this, and that. I don't see a problem doing that, but you can't follow.
Well, you can.
I mean,
You can, but as long as you don't direct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can watch
That's
it work,
But
as
that's,
long as you don't direct your work.
yeah, but
Right.
that's,
That direction of the work comes from Jerome.
yeah, but my thing is, why would you, if all my years of working, I knew my boss was in that office, okay? The only time she came out was lunch or pre-lunch stuff, okay? And I knew she was back there. So I did my work on, okay? I was on them consoles, did my work on, did roll my eyes, whatever, okay? But my thing is this. If a person, you got to be able to trust your employees, and you are only as good as your employees.
Well, that's true in any business.
That's the bottom line. So, as a commissioner, if I know they're supposed to get a task done, they ain't got to see me. Because I hired them to do a job. They don't have to see me, but I can go check and see if it's done up to par. But these commissioners ought to know that they have to do checks and balances. If they don't know that, then we need to get them off the board.
I completely agree
We
with
need
what
to get them
you're
off the
saying.
commission.
I agree completely with what you're saying. All I'm saying is there needs to be some form of coming back and following up on and making sure that work is done.
And there is, Gary, that if you go back to organizational chart,
That's why you got supervisors.
I got the
Well,
city commissioners here, and I've got Jerome here. Jerome reports directly to the city commissioners, and that's where I said we gotta get off the
all the
mentality.
duties have to be clarified.
Those 5 people up there should be asking Jerome on a daily basis, or not daily, but a weekly basis, give me an update with what you've done, what's going on, and they should have a to-do list of things, well, this is done, now we need to put on, just like, I'll use the thing, the guy brought up last week, we ought to be doing grant writing, I think that's what he said. And I think it's a great idea, but it was just dropped. And I'm saying that should be put on a other business, old business, to be monitored to discuss more in detail, because there's money out there for grants. But we gotta find a way of getting it. And I think what we did, well, I understand, it just sort of shut down, it's never going anywhere. That's not a good example, but that's what those 5 people are supposed to be doing. And that's why I keep on saying, we gotta get away from the mentality of the previous city manager, because she was not communicating adequately. Nobody was monitoring the way it should have been monitored, and things just sort of just laid to sleep for the last 5 years.
You got,
Am I saying it right?
yeah, I know what you're saying, but you got a couple of different things.
It's a little deeper than that.
It is deeper, but I'm just giving an
We
overview.
had a mayor and city manager that didn't get along
No,
at all for 10 years. They
Yeah.
hated each other almost.
you can't do that.
That's not gonna work.
That's not gonna work for nobody.
We can't fix that.
No.
No, and also, you know, the thing, I think that the commissioners, yeah, they need to ride around every once in a while and see what the employees are doing. Because
Right.
I can almost guarantee you that 4 or 5 times a day, and I lived under some of the strictest safety that they are at the Space Center and at Stetson, that are they blocking the roads right? Are they wearing the right PPE? Are they doing things accordingly the way they should? Now, if they see they're not doing it, they don't need to go up there and scream and holler at them. They need to be on the phone right back here, call and say, Jerome, hey, I went out there, and these guys have got a 6-foot hold up and no barricades around it.
Barriers around it. And
You know, we need to fix that.
no harnesses
And,
for
and
underground.
Right, and Jerome needs to be on the phone to Mark and say, Mark, you need to go fix this now. Okay? That's the avenue you gotta go. I mean, I was the director of operation and maintenance. Okay? I didn't go scream up the guys out there work. But I'm gonna tell you what, their manager, if I seen something wrong, I was calling their manager. Hey, Frank, what in the world are your guys doing? You know, let him handle it instead of me handling it,
Let's wrap it up.
okay? So, it's a way of managing.
But you've got to be able to have people be able to come and tell you, maybe you're gonna find out that
I've gotten in trouble on this one.
in an area.
Because commissioners is a political job. You have to be very careful for a commissioner going out and coming back and telling Jerome the guy ain't doing his job right.
Right.
Because they will do it, it has happened many times, they will do it for political reasons. They want somebody else hired there than what's out there.
Well,
And
that can be the
there's
case.
lawsuits over that all the time.
Yeah. You did, I mean, if,
You know, but you might discover that one area maybe needs more help. And a suggestion can be made.
Yeah.
You know.
But in his situation, the
Yeah.
example right there, it's up to Jerome to sit there and defend
Correct.
his actions of employee, because you're right.
He has
I always
to
sit
be the
there
man.
and commission, I don't like Mark, so I will sit there and do everything I possibly can. It's up to Jerome sitting there saying, look, you're parking the wrong street, Mark is doing A, B, C, D, just like he's supposed to be doing. Now, if you give me something specific, then I can sit there and do it, but don't come in
There you go.
there and say here.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
exactly right.
we're not doing this job.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
All right. Let's get back to the charter.
Well, they were talking about the charter in 701. I think,
Yes.
I don't have
Yeah.
a problem with it like it is now. I understand, Doug, you're saying, Carrie,
Yeah.
Doc said there, it comes up to those 5 people
That's right.
managing
Right.
Jerome. Jerome, is your ear burning a lot, buddy?
It's on fire.
Wait till we get on 6, no?
So 701 we discussed, and 702 city attorney, we kind of talked about that also.
We're taking out for any reason,
Yes.
Yeah.
and the police, I
The
think,
police
is
is
perfectly fine.
perfect.
Police, yes.
Mhm.
All right, so we completed 7. Discussion.
And the next one, it's just a walkthrough.
Yeah.
This is where it shows up for any reason again in 2 different spots that you want to add. City manager and the attorney.
And number 901 is perfectly fine too.
901,
That's the
did you
review.
say that there needed to be some stuff?
Well, I was just saying that moving it from 10 to 5, but then,
Okay.
Mr. Smothers said that it would
All
mess
set.
up the election years, so we just leave it.
You can make it 6 years, but you can't make it 5.
Okay.
You can make 4 years.
Oh, we need to stay on.
You gotta stay an even number.
Oh, it's gotta be an even number.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
You can make it 4, 6, 8, or 10.
Yeah, but my thing is, the 10 years might be a little long.
I'll
And
guarantee
we
you
might,
10.
and we might need to address it sooner, so
I agree with that.
But
6 years?
that's the reason it says at least every 10 years.
Right.
Say you can't do one every year.
So basically, the commission can
Commission
turn
would
around
have
and
to
tell
go
them,
You can.
we need to review it again.
The only difference is the commission would have to call for it. If it's in the charter, then they have to do it. That's the difference.
Okay, so if we change from 10 to 6, then.
That means that has to be done every
Every
6
6
years.
years.
And I have no problem with
I
that.
have no problem at all, because it's as small as it is, you could actually get it knocked out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like we're going now.
So
So I
I
would.
make a motion that we
Change it from
change
10
it
years
from
to
I'll
10 to
second that.
6.
Okay, so let's bring our boxing gloves for number 6.
One thing I'd like to float on the charter review,
We can't get any input at all from Trump, can we?
He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's sitting
we
right
can.
there listening.
I know, but
We can. We can get input from any outsider. If we want to bring in here to testify, we want.
the reason I want to ask that question, because I think we're all on the same page, is that the 5 manage the city manager. If it worked that way, like a regular organization and a business, there wouldn't be any issues. But the problem is, because it doesn't go like that way, we're all got different thought processes. I think I'd like to ask Drum, are we on the wrong page? Do you actually think you report to the city commissioners?
Yeah. The city administrator reports to the
So
commission.
city commissioners should actually give you guidance,
Yes,
follow up on what you're doing to make sure it's being done.
yes.
they're supposed to be doing that.
But what happens if they don't do that?
Well, I have 5 bosses. Somebody is going to be following up on something, and I give regular reports. So if someone has an issue or they see something not happening, then it's up to them to say, hey, this should be happening, and I notice it's not.
Do you give a weekly summary of what the city's done over the week to the commissioners?
Yes.
Okay, you give a weekly summary?
Yeah.
Because that's basically what
That's
most
normal.
managers do,
Yeah.
is give a weekly summary. That's what my managers had to give me a weekly summary of
Do you
what.
give that to just the mayor, or do you give it to all 5 city
All 5.
commissioners?
All 5.
All 5.
If we make a motion to go to city manager form of government, we can make a motion. Next meeting, we'll have to have the attorney here and redefine all the things that the city manager is supposed to do legally and everything, because it's a whole different ballgame
Oh, yeah.
than what we,
Yeah.
of the city administrator.
Yeah, I got a call from a guy that I was in the military with. He ended up being the city manager of Williston. And he called me one day.
Williston's full.
I said, man, I said, could you have picked a further backwoods town than Williston?
Worse than, yeah.
I'm telling you.
So you thinking we need to turn it here for
We need to
six?
decide whether we're gonna go to city manager form or government or not.
Okay.
I think everybody needs to think about that.
Weren't you all talking to about having Scott either here or available by Teams
No, that's
at the
if.
next meeting, or is that not
I
at
would-
that point
No,
yet?
not yet.
Not yet, not yet. Not yet.
I think we could think about that in the next meeting, we can sort of say, okay,
You're allowed to ask Jerome whether he should be a city administrator or a city manager, which, and his experience, which is the best way to go. He can have an opinion on it.
that's right.
You want to get
I
his.
think I'd like to have his opinion on that myself.
All right. You have the floor. You have an opinion?
Put me in the hot seat.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're a young man, you can handle it.
You got the job, so what do
You know
you
the
think?
question? You know the question? The question is, would you rather a city manager job or a city administrator?
The city manager. One of the main reasons is when you're representing the city or when you're attending other functions or whatever with other people from other cities. My experience so far, they're like, what's a city administrator? People are used to the term city manager. So when you tell them city manager, they automatically, they know what to expect. That's the person that's running the city, the day-to-day operations. When they hear an administrator, they're thinking someone who's just doing the paperwork. So the commission tells you, hey, you need to do this. Okay, I go do that. You need to do that. Oh, you go and do that too. They're not thinking that you don't have any real level of autonomy to make any type of decisions to run the city. They're thinking you have to continuously go to the commission to get permission to do things.
Okay, can I make one?
But that's just.
Can we? I make a motion that we study the city commission and the city administrator jobs. And in 2 weeks, we make a decision on what we're gonna do.
Well, we'll talk about our thoughts on the matter, but as far as the decision goes, we'll have to table that until we.
But I think we ought to, every one of us ought to study the type of government.
Right there, I'll tell you a lot.
Yeah, that'll tell you everything, but I'm just saying, we just need to study it. Of course. And really sink our teeth into
Put
it,
that in a try, just look at it real quick.
because to make.
You got it.
You know,
I just want to make sure.
like Mr. Smothers said, to change that, the
What
attorney
she
got
sent
to
us?
be here.
Yeah.
The difference
It's gonna
between-
take
So I want to see what
a
Troy.
big undertaking. It's
Can I have a
not
copy of
like,
that?
It's one that drew in.
Joanne sent you
And I
the,
know, prior to.
Okay.
Yeah, drew in, sent it.
Can I make a copy?
You're more than welcome to.
Thank you. Yep. Thank
you got a copy of it?
You have it? Okay, Jerome has it.
And also, in some of the original paperwork that we got, there's a section on
Right.
city manager, city administrator.
Yeah.
But we also talked about bringing the public in.
Yes.
We need to make our own mind up on that one first, though.
Yeah, before we get them involved.
Correct, and then now would that be before we have the, attorney?
We'll have to come out attorney in twice.
yeah, twice.
We're gonna have
With
to
us and with that.
specifically on
Okay.
the city manager.
So we'll come up with our full spread of what we
If you
want,
go to this,
then we'll have an attorney come.
What's that say,
before the
charter?
public.
charter presentation, that was by.
And then he has to be here when
Yeah.
we
Our
The public comes.
If you go back here,
Anytime you want.
Yeah, I've got that.
it tells you city
I think you
manager
have to
role.
advertise.
Yep, we right now have the mayor council, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we have right now, the mayor council.
Right now, on our schedule, We're here on the 13th. Next week we won't be here. We're gonna come back on the 27th and discuss 4 again.
Good.
Now, are we going back to 4 next week? I know we said we were going to study 6 and come back and tackle
We're
6.
still waiting on Jerome with
If Jerome's got the info.
Okay.
if Jerome got.
Right, so,
So we're gonna go back and look at whether we like the mayor council, strong mayor council, because there were 4 of them. And then we had the council manager, and then we had the hybrid.
Right now, that's what we got now, that's what we got.
Well, hybrids, that had to do with the district.
Districts.
Yeah.
Oh, it did, it did,
As
yeah.
a district.
That's,
Yeah.
And that's,
But what we got
that's a
now-
terrible thing from me. I know the city.
I don't think we got the strong mayor
But just the
council.
opposite of what you would think.
Oh, yeah.
You got somebody in a district running, he gets all the votes in that district, but the other districts
So
don't
I
like.
don't think so. I like the mayor council. That's what it is.
Yeah, we do, we have
Yeah.
a mayor council. I agree with you.
well, I think we're
I
running pretty
don't
ahead.
remember writing it down when I
Our weeks set aside, if all we have is 6 and part of 4 to discuss.
But after we get everything down and we get it laid out, then we gotta go through it this summer.
And there's nothing saying we can't finish it ahead of time.
Oh, no. No, it'd be
By the
better if
dates-
we can finish it ahead of time.
Yeah, by the dates
Even
that we have
if
set
we get all
aside.
done, somebody, if we hired somebody like that to put it in form to send it to the voters, the piecemeal like we're doing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So Ricky,
Yes.
so for the next agenda, it's gonna be discuss forward paragraph 1, after we receive the information from Jerome regarding district,
Correct.
and
But
then
that's if you get.
section 6
Yes.
for review.
Yes.
Yeah,
Section.
I just wanna
And,
make sure.
and Jerome can't be here for that.
from my experience, Jerome's gonna need a budget to bring that back to us. I think we ought to address that right now.
I don't know what
To
you
get the prices that y'all are wanting to see on what it would take to do it.
District.
He's gonna need a budget.
We're gonna need to spend some money to get the kind of information we want. We don't want, it's gonna be about $10,000.
Yeah.
We gotta hire we need to hire an expert to come and tell us.
There you go. When I went, because I was down at Fort Pierce, we were gonna put some on the referendum, when I went to the city electoral board, whatever it is, it was like, they gave me a flat dollar amount.
And basically, what we're asking Jerome to do is find out what is the time frame it would take to do it, approximately what would the cost be to do it, what is involved in doing it. You know, he can come back in general terms, he doesn't have to come back to us and say, it's gonna cost us $2,555.
I don't agree with that.
Well, we're just looking for the overall picture.
No, but suppose the overall comes out to be 10 times that. Then we look like a bunch of idiots for putting that on the ballot.
Well, I don't disagree. All I want Jerome to do is bring it back, to at least talk to somebody of it, as Ward told us tonight on it, and say,
Yeah.
what is the estimated cost? I mean, the actual cost may be 10 times more, maybe 10 times less, but at least to give us a thing going. If he comes back and says it's gonna be $10,000, well, that's no brainer. We ought to sit there and pursue it. If he comes back and says $500,000, then that says then we need to sit there.
Maybe we need to wait on this.
Yeah.
We don't make a
Well,
recommendation.
Plus, if you look at part of what Ken turned around and said, we're just asking Jerome to find out a time frame and the basics of it. Because if you look at Ken's information, Ken says now you gotta create a whole committee, and that's when you start getting into the nitty gritty of the districts and the expenses and so on.
When this goes on the ballot, and citizens ask me, what's it gonna cost to go to districts? And I want something better than Jerome's estimate.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that's way down the road. That's not happening right now.
Okay, if this is not happening now, why are we putting Jerome through this?
Because
Well-
we're looking for the overall picture
I'm just saying,
that
if
6 years from now,
Yeah.
maybe we want to go to a district.
Yeah, but then we can address it then.
I
Right
think,
now, you putting him through, he's basically gonna jump through hoops for nothing.
well, we gotta remember that this charter is not gonna take effect until really after this election.
Exactly, so
Okay.
why are we making him jump through hoops?
Well, but if we don't get something in the charter now, it won't be nothing go into the charter until when the next charter review.
So.
Okay,
what
and
are
you
we-
might not be on it, I might not be on it, none of us might not be on that charter
So
review.
what are we're trying to put something in about districting in the charter now? Is that what y'all telling
We're
me?
trying to better understand districting and the costs and the operation of
Darrell,
districting.
when we start talking about that, I think we're saying two different things. One is that most of us feel we should have districts out there, but then it came down, what's going to be the cost? You could get all this demographic stuff like that. So I said, well, let's just ask Jerome just to give us estimated cost. Now, I'm thinking Jerome should be able to call 2 or 3 people he knows in the field out there to sit there and say, give me an estimated cost for a city of 3,000. What would it cost to go back and do the demographics? I just want an estimated cost. And if it comes back and says it was going to cost you $100,000, we say, well, no, we can't afford that. You have to go back and budget that. But at least we can make at least we know now we can make a recommendation to the city commissioners when we do the charter review that at some point in time, they need to go back and look at doing.
You know, one of the largest costs is the supervisor elections.
Yeah.
They got to change everybody's voting
Correct.
status, they got to put everybody in districts. They got to have the boundaries of all the districts and everything before they won't even give you an estimate if you call them up now.
That
Well,
demographic-
everyone here, who all wants districts?
Not
I don't
me.
mind districts.
No.
I don't mind districts.
I just don't think the town's big enough at this point.
It's coming.
You can't think,
It will.
you can't think that way. You gotta sit there and think. I mean,
It's coming.
we may not have
It's
anybody
coming.
want to run for office in November. I mean, what are we gonna do then? But you gotta sit there and start somewhere. That's what my whole point
That's
is,
it.
is that we need to have representation from all 4 quadrants in Oak Hill. You just can't sit there and have one section sit there and manage the whole thing.
No, you can't say quadrants.
But that,
Like a snake.
forget the I only use quadrants as for us among friends, is
Yeah. But it's,
Yeah, that- when you take a district, you divide it up into 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Based
know,
on federal
Federal.
voting laws.
Right, laws.
That's what it is.
and if we gonna keep it with 4 4 commissioners? 4
four commissioners.
commissioners and the mayor.
Mayor and
So
officer.
then you divide the city up into 4 parts.
Or if you go with the mayor and one commissioner at large, then you divide up in 3 parts.
Yeah, but you can't divide the city by land mass.
No,
It has to be divided.
electoral.
That's right, I understand that. When I say quadrants, I want to say whatever.
So, I mean, I'm not saying for him not to get the information that we're asking for. But I'm just saying, if it's gonna cost him to ask it, or, I just think we might be just jumping through hoops until the time comes for us to
I don't
really
think so.
put the grind.
You have to call just to get an idea of drum?
Oh, you do?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, let's do it then.
Calm down. I'm glad you said that. Calm down.
If he can do that.
Yeah, I know when drums took $10,000, I'm just sitting there. In my profession, when I was running a hospital, if I need something, I just call 2 or 3 people and get
And
3
throw it out
answers,
there.
and it's at
That's exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but
And we're not the whole
I
drums
can
thing
understand.
we're just
For general information.
Yeah, okay, if that's the case, then fine. I'm with you.
that's the case.
Okay.
Now, for the next meeting, because we're gonna talk about the mayor, we go back to that one presentation, I was absent, I think it was like February the 14th. That's when Ken got up against the overview of the 4 different categories.
Yeah,
So we go back to that documentation and read that before we come in, and all of a sudden.
I was in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah, so you and I need to read it.
Yeah,
I didn't actually listen to the presentation online that Kim gave. It was very good. I just want to make sure I'm on the right page. I don't want to have to read something totally outlandish, opposite that. So I'll read go back to that meeting and read those documents.
I'm gonna do the same thing. 'Cause I
There's,
was-
there's two different things we're talking about, the types of government and district.
And that
That's
is
correct. Two different animals. I think we've not come to the conclusion, at least on the district, we're just asking for Joe just to give us some generalization. And once we get that number, that we can sit there
and
and,
say, if we wanna do it,
yeah.
and if we wanna put it in the charter.
But then we need to make a decision before we start talking about 6, what kind of form of government we want.
Exactly.
Is that,
We're good with that?
okay? And you like what would you say, would you like, Joe, was it terminology?
City manager.
City manager? That does make a
You
difference, I
know,
think.
that's a city managers association, Jerome being independent.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, maybe
And all the other
the
city
administrator.
And you know what? And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this. If he's running the day-to-day operation of this city, he should be a manager.
Yeah.
That's me.
So there's a difference in how you use my analogy in healthcare. Administrators used to be called administrators. Now it's called CEOs, chief executive officers. Why? Same, no different. The title means something.
It means something.
Yeah.
It means something. And your job should mean something.
Yeah.
You know why we don't have a city manager in the last charter? The whole commission said we'd have to pay them too much. The charter commission. You gotta pay a manager more than an administrator.
No, we're doing the same
No
job.
other reason they voted it down.
How ridiculous.
I swear.
All right,
Okay.
we covered just about everything, and then some.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We got a second?
I second.
All right, all in favor? All
Ah.
right. We adjourn.
We're going to set a box. We're going to set a